Thank you, Mr. Chair. I feel it's important to once again rise and to speak against this bill. There's just so many areas that need to be addressed. Understand the intent of the bill, but the question is what's what are going to be the results? Are the outcomes going to match the intent? And I just have to say that no, I don't see how it is any more than gun control and registering long guns has reduced the incidence of guns and those areas with that. It's interesting, and there's no question that we have a dilemma and need some tools to deal with, in fact, the gangs and those members who come in to a bar and want to boast or act invincible because they're wearing body armor. And I think that we should be able to pass legislation that when someone comes in and making threats or making intimidations and is wearing body armor, that we could pass legislation that would allow for some pretty steep fines or some strict penalties, some time in jail for individuals that were wearing and making threats. But I do not see the value in having to go through a process in order to get hold of body armor, especially when it comes to the question of is this going to stop gang members from using them? And in a small way, maybe it might, but I think it just increases the black market, actually adds to their economic activities that go on when we register or have to have special licensing to get hold of body armor. And I don't see how this is going to be a real tool that's going to, in fact, help the police deal with gangs. And that's the number one reason that we hear, is that this is a tool in order to address the gang activities. And again, that has been brought up several times by many members here in this House of these individuals that are going into a public place, bragging that they have on the body armor and making those threats. And I think that it's quite easy to, like I say, let's address that issue, that problem, not a general one that says, well, you no longer are able to get body armor or wear one unless you have a special license. And again, I understand the importance that as a society, safety is always a critical issue that we try and look at, and to ensure that our citizens are safe. And this, like I say, it does allow the police to have this tool where they can pull over someone to see, well, are you licensed to have this vest? And I think that this then opens up the next problem, though. I think it'll be amazing how many individuals will be able to say, or to go and get a license and say, well, I've had threats on my life, these other activities, or whatever it is, and be able to get a license to get body armor, even though their intent and their use is going to be illegal otherwise. And so then we're going to be in a situation where they're legally acceptable because they've used their legal process to acquire a bulletproof vest or a knife-proof, stab-proof vest. And so I just would urge the members of the House to reconsider the purpose of this bill. Is it in fact going to address the gang problems that we have? I just, like I say, in my mind, as I try and think through the process and how those people who want them are going to acquire them, I think they're going to have the loopholes to be able to get them. And I just have to wonder what are we really going to accomplish in this, other than restrict people who might, for whatever reason, want to get body armor and be nervous that not wanting to go and get licensed and going through the questions or whatever else. And again, I just think this is government taking a step that is too far, unnecessary. Well, I know you can get one, and yes, Mr. Chair, it's that there's. Thank you. That we just really need to look at it and say, is this going to stop the gangs? Is it going to stop someone from going into a bar? And like I say, that my thought process as I go through is that, yes, it might reduce a few, but it's going to, like I say, the biggest concern I have is going to increase the economic activity of those on how to get a vest and to... yes. And again, though, the experts are a whole group of people that are going to provide the legitimate reasons in order for someone to get a vest. And like I say, those who we least want to have will probably be get registered, get licensed, and wearing these. And so, like I say, I'd urge the members of the House to vote against this bill. It's unnecessary. Doesn't accomplish what we need. And then the other area to look at when we start making these lists and the costs and maintaining them and who's going to want to access those lists, again, for poor reasons that they want to do this, that we're jeopardizing the system. And again, we have limited funds in the province here. We're not able to fund the police forces the way they want. They're always asking for more money, looking for new tools, new equipment. And yet we're going to go sideways here and say, well, if we do these things, it's going to be a benefit. It's not going to cost very much. And again, I just go back to what we've learned with the long gun registry. It's only be $1 million or $2 million. It's been over $1 billion. And everybody says, oh, no, this is going to be a simple process. You know, the papers, it's not going to be expensive. But the fact of the matter is, we're going to have to hire people in order to process the paperwork to do this. And, you know, that could be 2 people that could be out on the street, 2 people that could be actually assigned to gang activity. Maybe it's 1 person, maybe it's 20. I don't know how many it's going to be. It's hard to envision, you know, the demand or what's going to happen here. But again, I just think we need to focus, you know, what is it that we want to do? This is a Band-Aid solution that I think the Band-Aid is going to fall off fairly quickly. And we're going to say, well, what have we accomplished here? And so, like again, I just urge the members to reconsider, you know, what is this bill's intent? Is it going to accomplish those things? I don't believe it will. This isn't the tool that we want to give the police officers to go after the gangs and those people that are making threats, going into public areas and putting on the body armor and making those threats. That's who we want to target. That's what we need a law to say, that those people that are acting aggressively, making threats in public and wearing body armor, we want to penalize them. And so I hope that the members of the House will vote against this bill.